Hey everyone, how's it going? Azren, the language nerd here. Hope you're doing very, very well. It is super duper hot in this car and I'm like sweating and it's not very comfortable, but I wanted to make sure I get this video out before I start driving and open the windows and get some air in here. So yeah, let's just jump right into the topic, which is getting over being self-conscious when speaking a language, or when learning a language, excuse me. Because many people struggle with this, and I often find this is the biggest hurdle or the biggest block or the biggest thing that really impedes people or stops people from making progress in whatever language they're trying to learn. They're worried. What if people think I'm dumb? What if I sound bad? What if I have an accent? What if people judge me? What if I don't know what to say and I don't understand someone and, you know, it's awkward, and on and on and on and on and on. All these different self-conscious thoughts really hold people back. And I wanted to share some thoughts that I think will help, or some of my perspectives on the topic. First and foremost, you need to understand that 95% of people are not going to be judging you. 95% of people are not judging you. They don't think you sound dumb. As a matter of fact, they're probably even impressed that you're even trying to make an effort, because many people don't. Especially if your mother tongue is English and you're from the USA, Canada, England, etc. It's so common for people to just rely on the English, especially USA and even Canada, right? Especially there, right? It's so common for us to be monolingual and to only speak English, that if you've made the effort even just to speak a little bit in someone else's language, a lot of people view that quite positively. And they're not going to judge you that you didn't have the most perfect pronunciation when you said merci in French or gracias in Espanol, right? They're not going to judge you on it. They'll just be happy that you tried and you're making an effort, because so many people don't, right? So let's just start there. Most people are not judging you. Most people are not thinking anything negative of you. Now, some people, the small percentage of people, maybe legitimately will be judging you, and maybe legitimately will think you're dumb, etc. And my perspective on that is, you know, for me, what helps me anyway in those scenarios is a couple things. I try and control my environments. I try to be very selective with who I'm hanging out with. If I'm with someone and I don't feel good around them, I won't spend as much time with them. Like usually I'll pick a couple of very supportive people that I like being around, that speak the language, that are helpful and everything, if possible. You know, also I think it helps that it's often temporary, especially if you're traveling, things like that. Often it's temporary. If you really do meet someone who's laughing at you or judging you or whatever, like I've had it happen, but it's temporary. It's the one dude in the restaurant. It's the waiter in the restaurant that you're never going to see again. It's someone you're not going to see again, and it's a very temporary pain. It's a very temporary, you know, feeling dumb. And as long as you understand that what the person is saying to you, if they have insulted you, like I remember I was in China once and I was told they're literally laughing at me because I couldn't understand what they're saying, and I was trying to answer and they're like chuckling because it's like, oh my god, this is so funny. It was in a little like store. You know, I know, and I felt really bad in the moment, of course, but I also know that it's not that I'm dumb. It's not that I'm an idiot. That stuff's not true. It's that they happen to be the minority of people who are judging me for how I spoke. That's not the majority, and it's not a real reflection upon me, right? It's kind of going in a serious direction. It's kind of related to bullying. It's like when someone's going through bullying in school, right? And let's say verbal bullying, not physical bullying. When the bully is saying to you, you're dumb, you're an idiot, what the hell's your problem? Haha, you look funny, this, that, the other thing. It's not true. You get to choose if you put up a shield and block that out, or if you let that in, right? You get to choose. And so it's similar with self-consciousness around language learning. First of all, most people don't even like judge you at all. If you think they're judging you, but they're not, like 95% of the time. But even the small percentage of time, maybe someone does judge you or say something, it's not you need to make the conscious choice in the moment to decide that, hey, what he's saying is not actually true. Think of it as a bully, and I need to put up my shield, my light shield, my super duper Captain America shield, whatever, to block that comment, because I'm not letting that in. So let's start there. I think another thing, I hit on it earlier, is to control your environments, especially if you're feeling self-conscious and you're worried. Only talk to your teacher. Only talk to a private tutor. Don't take large group classes. Control your environment and only try and put yourself around people or with people that you feel most comfortable or more comfortable with, until you become more fluent and more comfortable in the language and you're like, okay, I think I can start to stretch my bubble a little bit, right? I think that's really something that can help a lot of people. I think as well is when it comes to being self-conscious or being nervous about being judged, things like that, sounding dumb, all those things, I think you need to put it into perspective. And what I mean by that is, sometimes people have an expectation of themselves that they need to speak a certain way when they haven't studied the language a very long time. I was talking to someone very recently who was telling me that, man, I was trying to tell this story that happened to me like last week, and I was just butchering it. I felt like I was just spitting out random words, and I couldn't tell that individual the story. And I was like, and he's like, I felt so dumb. I felt like an idiot. I felt like not doing this anymore. And I was like, well, hang on. You've studied the language for 4 months and you expect yourself to tell a story in the past? Have you studied how to like talk about things in the past? And he's like, no, I haven't. And I was like, okay, you've just learned so far in your 4 months, you've just learned how to talk about stuff in the present. Your family, your basic likes and dislikes. That's all you've really learned in 4 months. So how could you expect yourself? Why are you judging yourself and being self-conscious about an aspect of the language you've never touched? It just doesn't make any sense. There's no logic behind it. And so often the root of this self-consciousness and feeling nervous and judging yourself is that you're judging yourself, you're expecting yourself to be able to do something that is not something that you, by how long, the efforts you've put into it, the amount of time you study the language, how you've decided to learn, what you've studied, what you haven't, etc. Based on what you've done so far and the actions you've done so far, you are unfairly judging yourself. You're expecting yourself to be able to do something that you, with the efforts you've put in, you would not be able to do anyway. Right? So people have too high expectations of themselves, right? I think one general rule that I have for myself, and this, you're either going to take this, it's really hot in here, holy moly. You're going to take this one of two ways. I'm like sweating like crazy, it's disgusting. But you're going to take this one of two ways. Either it's going to be motivating, like there's literally sweat dripping on my back. It's really gross. Anyway, you're either going to take this in a positive way or negative way, but I choose to view it in a positive way. I won't judge myself until 5, 6, 7, 8 years into learning a language. So if I fail something on a day, if I fail a test, I don't do well at something, something's hard for me, I'm not understanding, I don't beat myself up over, I don't have any judgment or opinion on it in the moment. I judge myself 5, 6, 7 years into the process, because I know that if I convince myself that it's going to take 8 years, 7 years, 6 years, 5 years to achieve any level of comfort in the language, even though it might take me less time than that, because I'm prepared for it to take longer, right? I don't sweat the small stuff. Pun intended with me sweating. I don't sweat the small stuff, right? I don't. It doesn't bother me because I expected, I convinced myself it was going to take years of time, right? So that's something I would recommend. Some people get discouraged by that. They're like, oh my God, 8 years? Whoa. That's like, oh my God, so discouraging. But for the people who are hearing that and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me, I think that way too, I highly recommend you adopt that kind of philosophy, right? To help you to be more patient, right? Work and practice daily and regularly, but be patient. Don't be hard on yourself. So anyway, I could rant on this topic forever, but let's wrap it up there because it's already been 9 minutes and literally I'm like drenched right now. It's actually kind of gross. I'm feeling really disgusting about this and I want to like jump out of my car and like blow air down my back and stuff. So let's wrap it up there. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your attention and we will talk later. Bye for now, guys. See ya.